You feel it before you can explain it. You are alone in a room. Nothing moves. But suddenly, some hidden part of your mind whispers that someone is looking at you. So you turn around, there is nobody there. And that should be the end of it. But it is not. Because the real answer is far stranger than fear, imagination, or a childish belief in ghosts. Your brain may not be detecting a person. It may be detecting the possibility of a person. And for most of human history, that difference mattered. Why does an empty hallway sometimes feel occupied? Why can the back of your neck seem to know something your eyes have not seen? Why can a coat on a chair become a stranger in the corner just long enough to make your heart change speed? The answer begins with a simple fact about you. You are an animal that survived by being watched. Not just by predators, not just by enemies, by other humans. Long before cities, screens, cameras, and electric lights, your ancestors lived inside a world of eyes. Eyes in the grass, eyes in the trees, eyes across the fire. Eyes from people who might share food, steal food, choose mates, spread gossip, punish rule breakers, or notice weakness. To a modern brain, being watched can feel awkward. To an ancient brain, being watched was information. It meant someone knew where you were. Someone could predict your next move. Someone might help you. Someone might hurt you. So your brain became obsessed with gaze. Human eyes are unusual. Most animals do not show a bright white patch around the iris the way humans do. Researchers like Michael Tomasello have argued that this makes human gaze easier to follow, because your eyes do not only show that you are looking, they show where you are looking. That seems small. It is not small. It turns a face into an arrow. If someone suddenly looks behind you, your attention snaps there before you choose to move it. If someone stares at a bush, the bush becomes important. If someone avoids looking at a person, that person becomes socially dangerous in a different way. Can you feel how old that is? Before written language, before maps, before clocks, your ancestors were already reading invisible lines of attention stretching from one skull to another. Look here. Do not look there. Watch him. Avoid her. The world was not just made of objects. It was made of objects plus attention. Psychologists Chris Frith and Uta Frith helped describe the human ability to track other minds as a social superpower. You do not just see bodies, you infer intentions. You guess what someone knows, wants, fears, and plans. That theory is not always correct. It does not need to be. It only needs to be useful often enough. If a person smiles while holding a stone, you do not analyze every muscle in the face like a machine. You feel the possible meaning. Friendly, fake, friendly, dangerous, confusing. Sometimes certainty arrives too late. This is where the feeling of being watched becomes less mysterious. Your brain is not a camera. It is a prediction engine. It constantly guesses what might be in the room, then checks the evidence against those guesses. This is why a shadow can become a person for half a second. But why does it make that prediction in the first place? Because in the ancestral world, a false alarm was often cheaper than a missed alarm. Imagine two ancient humans walking near tall grass. One hears a rustle and assumes it is nothing. One hears a rustle and assumes it might be something. Most of the time, both are wrong in boring ways. It is wind, it is leaves, it is a small animal. But on the one day it is a leopard, the cautious brain gets another chance. The relaxed brain may not. Evolution does not care if you feel silly. It cares if you survive. The psychologist Justin Barrett called one version of this pattern a hyperactive agency detection device. Agency means the presence of an actor, something with intention. Barrett argued that humans are biased toward detecting agency because mistaking a shadow for an agent is usually less costly than mistaking an agent for a shadow. So your mind looks for watchers. It looks for hidden actors. It looks for intention in noise. The face in the wall. The figure in a coat rack. The sudden sense that a room has changed. These may not be failures of your mind. They may be side effects of a system built to ask one urgent question again and again. Is someone there? That question shaped your senses. It shaped your emotions. It may even have shaped your morality. In one famous line of research, Melissa Bateson and colleagues placed images of eyes near an honesty box in a university coffee room. When the image above the box showed watching eyes, people contributed more money than when it showed flowers. Nobody was actually watching, the eyes were just pictures. But your brain is not calm around eyes. Even fake eyes can change behavior. Why? Because being observed has always mattered to a social animal. If someone sees you take more than your share, that memory can spread. If someone sees you help, that can spread too. Reputation is not a modern invention, it is an ancient survival tool, built out of memory, gossip, trust, and punishment. So being watched entered the body, not as an idea, but as a pressure. You can feel this today when you walk into a room and everyone turns toward you. Your posture changes, your face changes, your hands suddenly become too visible. You may not consciously think, these people are evaluating my place in the group, but your body acts as if the ancient court has opened. Is this why a glance can feel heavier than a touch? A look contains judgment before words do. A look can include threat, curiosity, disgust, recognition, exclusion, or love. Your brain treats it like a loaded signal. It asks not just, are they looking? It asks, why are they looking? Neuroscientist Simon Baron-Cohen helped popularize the idea of the eye direction detector as one part of social cognition. In plain English, your brain has systems that are unusually sensitive to eyes and where they are pointed. If a person looks at your cup, you may move it. If a person looks at the door, you may expect them to leave. If a person looks past you with fear, you may turn before you know why. Your eyes follow eyes. Your mind follows minds. But the system does not switch off when the room is empty. That is the strange part. A mechanism built for other people can activate without other people. In darkness, your visual information weakens. In silence, small sounds grow larger. So your prediction engine begins filling gaps. It does not wait politely for perfect evidence. It begins offering possibilities. Someone behind you, something in the corner, a face in the dark. And once the possibility appears, your body prepares. Your heart rate rises, your muscles tighten, your attention narrows. The ancient system is not asking whether the threat is likely. It is asking whether ignoring it could be costly. This is why the feeling can be so convincing. It arrives as a sensation, not an argument. You do not reason your way into turning around. You turn around, then explain it. The explanation comes late. There is another layer. You are not only sensitive to being watched by real people, you are sensitive to the idea of being watched. Cameras can do it. Mirrors can do it. A painted portrait can do it. Even a pair of cartoon eyes can make a donation box feel less private. So what about the empty basement, the midnight hallway, the moment you pause with your hand over the light switch because the dark behind you feels aware? That may be what happens when three ancient systems overlap. The first system detects agency. Is someone there? The second system tracks gaze. Are they looking at me? The third system protects belonging. What do they know about me? Alone in the dark, those systems can fire without a target. They create the outline of a watcher, then search for evidence to place inside it. A shadow becomes shoulders. A reflection becomes a face. A creak becomes a footstep. And in a dangerous world, missing pieces were rarely ignored. This is why the feeling of being watched is not just paranoia in miniature. It is a fossil of social survival stored in your attention. You carry an ancient room inside your skull. In that room, someone may always be looking. Modern life changed the room, but not the machinery. Now the eyes are different. They are profile pictures, security cameras, read receipts, follower counts, meetings, public comments, and the tiny green dot that says your camera is on. You may live in a world your ancestors could not imagine, but your nervous system still understands visibility in ancient terms. Seen can mean safe. Seen can mean loved. Seen can mean hunted. Seen can mean judged. So the next time you feel watched when no one is there, the point is not that your mind is broken. The point is that your mind is old. It was built in a world where unseen attention could become danger, where a glance could carry status, and where survival depended on noticing other minds before they finished moving. You turn around because some deep part of you is still checking the grass. You turn around because a shadow is cheaper than a mistake. You turn around because your brain would rather invent a watcher than miss one. And then, when you see nobody behind you, you laugh a little. You feel foolish. You go back to what you were doing. But the ancient system does not apologize. It waits. Quietly. Because you felt it before you could explain it.